Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning in to AMTV, Alternative Media Television. Before we get started, please click the link below. Support our sponsor, EarthCom. That's earthcom.com. Electromagnetic radiation is all around you, so protect yourself and protect your family right now. Click that link below. So yesterday I did a story on Operation American Spring. And, a lot of Americans laugh at that. They think that it's unrealistic that Americans, the dumbass, fat-ass sheeple that they are, consuming the bullshit propaganda on a daily basis, would actually get off their Big Mac eating fat asses into the equivalent of Tahrir Square here in Washington, D.C. And actually raise their voices. Actually try to get something done. Actually try to revoke the crowning of this leadership, the President of the United States, who's really now a king, and the soon-to-be Queen, Hillary Rodham Clinton, who's been part of scandal after scandal, whether or not it's Benghazi or anything else. People kind of laugh at it. They don't think that it's a realistic possibility. And you know what? They might have a little bit of a point. I mean, the American people really are dumb. They're stupid. In 2008, for example, they allowed a federal government to literally rape them. Economically, financially, spiritually, emotionally. They allowed that to happen. The banks literally bailed themselves out in the trillions and trillions of dollars on the backs of the American people. But the American people are so dumb, they think they're getting free shit. Like, remember when Obama, for example, said that, hey, he'd give you $8 grand if you bought a house and then property values still crashed like 40% in places here like Arizona? See, people are dumb. They still believe in this phony credit system. This dollar out of thin air created system is going to continue into the future because they think that their past experience is somehow going to be what the future entails. When we know that not to be true. Even if you look at economics, for example, past performance does not predict future returns. There's no guarantee that America will even exist next year, yet alone in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. At least in the Middle East, the people have balls. When they're suffering at the hands of dictators, people that are leading them in the wrong direction, they actually get into the streets. They fight back. Now, of course, all of that was stimulated by the United States and Western-backed interests, arming groups on the ground like Al-Qaeda, for example, and the Al-Nusra Front in Syria, and then choreographing and staging false flag terror attacks. It was the chemical attack in Syria, which has later come out now, and we reported on extensively, contrary to the mainstream bullshit statist opinion that you get from CNN, that was all staged by the United States of America. It was actually the rebels on the ground, backed by the United States, that were launching the chemical warfare that murdered innocents, men, women, and children. So why would the federal government here in the United States not support their own revolution? Why wouldn't they support the dumbass American Big Mac eating sheeple in the equivalent of Tahrir Square in Washington, D.C.? If, let's say, 10 million, 20 million, or 30 million, according to Operation American Spring, were to take over the streets peacefully, the United States of America, and ask for the ouster of the President of the United States, the Speaker of the House, the Vice President, these people that have been running guns down into Mexico illegally, passing the NDAA and these executive action orders that is totally contrary and literally shredding the American Constitution. What would happen? And you see how it's a double standard. You see how the United States supports revolutions overseas, has no problem with the murder of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya or the potential ouster of Bashar al-Assad in Syria or any of these other places. Now we're in the Ukraine. But they will care if there's a Tahrir Square moment here in the United States, if, let's say, Occupy Wall Street protesters armed with machine guns and grenade launchers, or let's say Tea Partiers start to get a little angry in the streets. They'll care about that just like they sent the cavalry with Occupy Wall Street and cleared out all those dirty hippies, as Newt Gingrich liked to point out. Those dirty, smelly little hippies. Can't the American people just accept that they're ruled by the elites? Can't they just accept that they're ruled by kings and queens? Can't they just accept that bailouts are the norm, that crony capitalism is what exists in the United States of America? And now we live in this surveillance state that has been exposed by the likes of Edward Snowden and Julian Assange? Can't the American people just accept it? And the reason why the American people won't potentially get into the streets yet is because they're much too comfortable. You see, rates are still at 0%. They can still take out a car loan, get that bullshit mortgage that they can't afford. Just pile up the debt into infinity. Make it an unserviceable amount of debt. They can still do that because it's still a bullshit phony credit system that's been launched by the Federal Reserve. But when it cracks, when it materially cracks, is the moment the American people will wake up. When we have a repeat of 2008, which will be much worse than what we just had just a few years ago. When the Dow Jones Industrial Average finally crashes to zero and people can't get their hands on credit. And the younger generation realizes they can't get a job and they might soon be homeless. That'll be the Tahrir Square moment. That's when the dumbass American sheeple will wake up. But the problem is, it might be too late by then. By then, the American government has already prepared itself. They're already ready. They've already tagged all the American patriots and sent them to internment camps. Who knows? They might just decide to get rid of all of us in a mass extermination. They themselves might launch the September 11th false flag terror attack, EMP that literally knocks out 90% of the U.S. population. It very well might be the government itself. A very sinister, cruel, evil government that lies to us again and again, whether or not it's Flight 370 and that hijacking, or it's September 11th and the structural convenient demolition of not just the World Trade Center, but also Building 7 that wasn't even hit. Not to mention the Pentagon. All of this choreographed by the elite, all of this a part of the master control system that makes up America today. But I'm here to tell you, folks, I'm here to share with you that at some point, things will break. At some point, the Tahrir Square moment will come, and the United States of America will no longer be the place that you grew up in. I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting it in your face as usual. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, and click the link below to support our sponsor.